The five powers are the invisible forces that, when awakened inside a human being, slowly and permanently transform an ordinary life into an intentional, focused, and unbreakable one, and the first of these is the power of vision, because vision is what lifts your eyes from present confusion and allows you to see a future that is larger than your fear, larger than your pain, and larger than your past mistakes. And when a person truly has vision, their life stops moving randomly and begins moving with direction, because they are no longer controlled by circumstances but guided by purpose, and this purpose gives meaning to every small effort, even when the journey feels long, even when progress feels slow, and even when no one else understands the road they are walking, because vision teaches patience and patience teaches endurance, and endurance builds strength that cannot be shaken by temporary failure. The second power is the power of discipline, because vision without discipline remains only a dream, and discipline is the bridge that carries you from imagination to reality. Discipline is what trains you to act when comfort invites you to stop, when laziness whispers excuses, and when motivation disappears, and every time you choose discipline over ease, you are silently building self-respect, and self-respect grows into confidence, and confidence grows into emotional stability. And emotional stability allows you to remain calm under pressure, to think clearly in difficult moments, and to stay steady when life becomes uncertain. The third power is the power of belief, because no human being can continue for long without believing that their effort has meaning and their growth is possible, and this belief is not blind hope but earned trust built through showing up again and again, through learning from failure instead of being defeated by it, and through seeing yourself become stronger over time, and as belief strengthens, fear loses its authority, doubt becomes quieter, and comparison loses its grip, because you begin to trust your own journey and your own timing, and when you trust yourself, your actions become bold yet calm, determined yet patient, and focused rather than scattered. The fourth power is the power of persistence, because life will test you with delay, rejection, boredom, and moments when progress feels invisible, and without persistence most people quit just before growth begins to show, but persistence teaches you to continue when it would be easier to stop, to remain committed when results are slow, and to stand firm when emotions fluctuate, and this steady commitment builds mental toughness, and mental toughness allows you to carry responsibility without breaking, to face uncertainty without collapsing, and to rise again after setbacks without losing faith in your direction. The fifth power is the power of faith in yourself, because after vision gives you direction, discipline gives you structure, belief gives you courage, and persistence gives you endurance. Faith gives you peace, the deep inner calm that comes from knowing that no matter how the future unfolds, you are becoming the kind of person who can handle it, and this faith is not arrogance but quiet certainty. The certainty that your effort is shaping you, your struggles are strengthening you, and your journey has meaning even when the outcome is not yet clear, and with this faith, anxiety begins to fade, because you stop trying to control everything and start trusting the process, and when you trust the process, you can focus on the present step instead of being overwhelmed by the entire path, and this focus sharpens your attention, improves your decisions, and reduces regret, because regret is usually born from hesitation and avoidance, while peace is born from honest effort and consistent action. And as these five powers work together within you, your mind becomes clearer, your emotions becomes steadier, and your direction becomes stronger, because vision aligns your goals, discipline shapes your habits, belief strengthens your courage, persistence protects your commitment, and faith stabilizes your heart, and together they create an inner foundation that is not easily shaken by criticism, failure, or delay, and this foundation allows you to respond rather than react, to stay patient rather than panic, and to move forward rather than give up, and over time, this way of living reshapes your identity, because you stop seeing yourself as someone who only hopes and start seeing yourself as someone who builds. You stop seeing yourself as someone who waits and start seeing yourself as someone who works. You stop seeing yourself as someone who doubts and start seeing yourself as someone who trusts their own growth, and this identity shift is the deepest transformation of all, because behavior naturally follows identity. And when your identity becomes disciplined, believing, persistent, and self-trusting, your actions no longer feel forced, they feel aligned, and aligned action creates steady. Aligned action creates steady progress, and steady progress builds confidence, and confidence strengthens focus, and focus accelerates learning, and learning expands your capacity, and expanded capacity allows you to handle greater challenges without losing balance, and balance gives you emotional strength, and emotional strength allows you to remain calm when others are overwhelmed, steady when others are uncertain, and committed when others are distracted, and this calm strength becomes your silent power, because it does not need to prove itself, it simply continues, day after day, step by step, building a future through consistency rather than excitement, through patience rather than rush, and through effort rather than luck, and as time passes, the 5 powers quietly compound within you, turning small daily actions into lasting character, turning discipline into identity, turning belief into certainty, turning persistence into resilience, and turning faith into unshakable inner peace. And this peace does not mean the absence of struggle, it means the presence of stability, the stability that comes from knowing who you are, where you are going, and why you are walking this path, and with this stability, you no longer fear slow progress, because you understand that slow growth is still growth, and you no longer fear failure, because you understand that failure is feedback, and you no longer fear uncertainty, because you trust your ability to adapt, and this trust frees your mind, strengthens your heart, and sharpens your will, allowing you to live intentionally rather than reactively, purposefully rather than randomly, and courageously rather than fearfully, and this is the true promise of the 5-power message, not instant success, not overnight change, but steady transformation, deep confidence, emotional control, clear direction, and inner peace that grows stronger with time. And when a person lives with these 5 powers active within them, their life may still have challenges, but it will no longer be. This refusal builds integrity, and integrity builds inner peace, because there is no conflict between who you are and how you act, and when your inner world is aligned, your mind becomes calm, your decisions become clear, and your heart becomes steady, and in this steadiness, faith deepens, not as blind optimism, but as grounded trust in your own ability to adapt, to learn, and to grow through every season of life. And this faith allows you to face uncertainty without panic, because you know that even if the outcome is unknown, your effort is meaningful, and even if the road is long, your steps are taking you somewhere, and this sense of direction protects you from hopelessness, because hopelessness is born when effort feels pointless, but when vision is alive, effort always has meaning, and meaning gives strength to patience, and patience gives stability to persistence, and persistence protects belief. And belief nourishes discipline, and discipline keeps vision clear, and in this cycle the five powers continue to reinforce one another, creating an inner structure that becomes stronger with time, like a foundation that deepens beneath the surface while the world only sees the building slowly rising, and because your foundation is deep, you are not easily shaken by criticism, by comparison, or by temporary failure, because you understand that progress is not a straight line, but a path with turns, pauses, and challenges, and each challenge is an opportunity to practice the very powers you are developing, to renew your vision when you feel lost, to strengthen your discipline when you feel tired, to reaffirm your belief when doubt appears, to test your persistence when progress slows, and to deepen your faith when the future feels unclear. And through this practice, your mind becomes trained, your emotions become regulated, and your will becomes strong, and a strong will does not need to rush, it moves steadily, confidently, and patiently, knowing that what is built with care will last. And this patience changes how you experience time, because you stop seeing waiting as punishment and start seeing it as preparation. You stop seeing delay as failure and start seeing it as training, and you stop seeing difficulty as injustice and start seeing it as development. And with this shift in perception, your life becomes less reactive and more intentional, because you are no longer driven by fear of being behind, but guided by commitment to becoming better. And this commitment shapes your habits, your choices, and your relationships, because you begin to choose what supports your growth rather than what only comforts you, and through these choices your identity continues to evolve, from someone who only desires change to someone who lives it, from someone who hopes for strength to someone who practices it, and from someone who waits for confidence to someone who builds it through action. And this is the quiet, powerful work of the five powers, not to make you perfect, but to make you stable, not to make you fearless, but to make you courageous, not to make your path easy, but to make you capable, and capability brings dignity, and dignity brings self-respect, and self-respect becomes the inner voice that reminds you every day that your effort matters, your growth is real, and your journey has value, even when it is slow, even when it is difficult, and even when it is unseen. And with this understanding, opportunity, greater influence, and a life shaped deliberately rather than accidentally, this is not an exaggerated promise, it is the natural outcome of behavior repeated consistently over time. Continue clicking forward, continue acting with intention, continue honoring your decisions, and allow discipline to quietly deliver what motivation never could: stability, strength, clarity, control, and a future built by choice rather than chance. You walk forward knowing that you were created with intention, that you are capable of achieving more than you can currently see, and that the universe is preparing beautiful things that will align perfectly with your growth. You are meant to rise, meant to shine, meant to impact the world simply by being yourself. Continue your journey with hope in your heart and confidence in your spirit, because the best chapters of your life are not behind you, they are waiting ahead, and I am with you in every step you take. Stop making excuses and start making moves is the moment your life begins to change. You do not need permission, you do not need approval, and you do not need perfect conditions. You only need the courage to start and the strength to continue even when it gets hard, because it will get hard, and that is exactly why most people will never reach their potential, but you will, because you are no longer waiting, you are awakening. And when a person awakens to their power, nothing can stop them. Not fear, not failure, not even their own past. Remember that even stars cannot shine without darkness, and one day you will look back and realize that every setback was simply part of the setup for your comeback. Your dreams are calling you because they know you are capable, and the world is waiting for the moment you finally realize that too. Keep going with fire in your heart, possibilities in your mind, discipline in your actions, and faith in your steps, because the life you want is already on its way, and soon, everything will make sense. Day you stand on your success and say, I earned this. Your power is real, your dream is real, your growth is real. And these hours are turning your potential into proof. So straighten your back, set your timer, take a deep breath, and lock in, because someone out there is dreaming about the life you are building, and one day they will thank you for proving that it's possible. Keep going. Greatness is already taking shape inside. And as these 5 powers continue to grow inside you, you begin to understand that true strength is not loud, rushed, or aggressive, but calm, patient, and rooted in self-mastery, because the person who can control their thoughts can control their actions, and the person who can control their actions can shape their destiny, and this is why the power of vision must be renewed every day. By reminding yourself not only of what you want to achieve but of who you are becoming in the process. Because goals give direction, but identity gives consistency, and when your identity is built on discipline, belief, persistence, and faith, you no longer depend on external motivation, you become internally driven, and this inner drive is what carries you through days when the world is silent, when encouragement is absent, and when results are delayed, and in those moments, you learn the value of solitude. Because solitude teaches you to listen to your own thoughts, to correct your own fears, and to strengthen your own resolve, and through this inner dialogue, your belief becomes clearer, your purpose becomes stronger, and your patience becomes deeper, and patience is not weakness. It is controlled strength, the strength to wait without frustration, to work without immediate reward, and to trust without visible proof, and this patience protects you from making impulsive decisions that could cost you years of progress. Because a rushed mind often chooses comfort, but a disciplined mind chooses growth, and growth always demands time, effort, and emotional control. And emotional control is the silent skill that separates those who rise steadily from those who rise quickly and fall just as fast, because emotions change, but character remains, and character is built through repeated choices made in quiet moments, when no one is watching, when no one is praising, and when only your own conscience is present, and in those moments, the power of faith becomes your anchor, reminding you that even unseen effort is not wasted, that even slow progress is meaningful, and that every honest step is shaping your future self. And when you truly accept this, you stop measuring your life only by results and start measuring it by growth, and growth is something you can control, because you can control your effort, your learning, your consistency, and your attitude, and when you focus on what you can control, anxiety begins to lose its grip, because anxiety is born from trying to control outcomes, while peace is born from mastering process, and the 5 powers teach you to honor the process, to respect the timing of your life, and to remain committed even when the path is unclear, because clarity often comes after movement, not before it, and this understanding gives you courage to take the next step without needing to see the entire staircase, and each step builds confidence, and confidence builds momentum, and momentum carries you forward, and forward movement, even if slow, keeps hope alive, and hope nourishes effort, and effort strengthens belief, and belief fuels persistence, and persistence deepens faith, and faith stabilizes your heart, creating a cycle of inner strength that continues to grow with time, and as this cycle strengthens, you become less reactive to external noise, less affected by comparison, and less disturbed by temporary setbacks, because your focus shifts from proving yourself to improving yourself, from competing with others to mastering yourself, and this shift is powerful, because self-mastery is the foundation of every lasting achievement, and a person who masters their mind, habits, and emotions carries a quiet authority that does not need validation, and this authority expresses itself through calm speech, steady action, and consistent effort, and people begin to feel your strength before you speak it, because true power is not in words, it is in presence, and presence is built when your inner world is aligned, when your thoughts, values, and actions move in the same direction, guided by vision, supported by discipline, strengthened by belief, sustained by persistence, and protected by faith, and this alignment creates inner harmony, and inner harmony creates clarity, and clarity allows you to make decisions without confusion, to face challenges without panic, and to accept responsibility without fear, and as responsibility becomes natural to you, your life begins to expand, because responsibility is the doorway to leadership, and leadership begins with leading yourself, with setting standards for your own behavior, with honoring your own commitments, and with holding yourself accountable even when it would be easier to make excuses, and through this self-leadership, your character becomes strong, your mind becomes focused, and your heart becomes steady, and this steadiness allows you to remain grounded during success and resilient during difficulty, and in both states, you remain faithful to your path, because you understand that success is a test of humility and difficulty is a test of endurance, and both are necessary to shape a complete human being, and when you accept both with gratitude, your growth becomes balanced, and balanced growth creates wisdom, and wisdom teaches you to act with patience, to speak with care, and to move with intention, and intention transforms ordinary effort into meaningful work, and meaningful work brings fulfillment, not because it is easy, but because it is aligned with your deeper values, and this alignment is the final gift of the 5 powers, that they do not only push you forward, they center you, they do not only make you stronger, they make you calmer, and they do not only help you achieve, they help you become, and becoming a disciplined, believing, persistent, and self-trusting person is the greatest achievement of all, because such a person can face any season of life with stability, dignity, and quiet confidence, knowing that no matter how the world changes, their inner foundation remains strong, guided by vision, shaped by discipline, protected by belief, carried by persistence, and held steady by unshakable faith in themselves. And as time moves forward and you continue to live by these 5 powers, you begin to realize that real transformation is not something that happens in a single moment of inspiration but in thousands of small, disciplined decisions made when no one is watching, when the excitement is gone, and when only your commitment remains, and in those quiet moments your character is being shaped, because character is built in repetition, in patience, and in the willingness to do what is necessary even when it feels ordinary. And this is where the power of discipline deepens, teaching you that greatness is not created by intensity alone but by consistency, by the ability to return to your purpose again and again, even after fatigue, even after disappointment, even after failure. And through this return your belief becomes more mature, because it is no longer based on hope